everyone, and welcome back to our series of Peripatetic Conversations in Fornace for Milan Design Week 2026. And here we are in the event Mornings Made in Fornace, exploring the creative ateliers of this space, this historical hidden gem in Verona, Milano. And today I'm Anshika Mangla, the organizer of Nari podcast, and with Cindy Lilen, a fiber and lighting artist from London. So this idea was born out of just talking about doing a general conversation, but then we thought of evolving this idea and bringing out this concept, this Greek concept of talking while walking, because walking, it helps you think better, it helps your ideas revolve, it helps you think more. So that's why we are doing these conversations while walking around this historical place and exploring the different installations here. So thank you so much, Cindy, for being my guest here. Today we will speak about materiality and the contrast of materials. So I would just like to ask you to introduce yourself to our guests, to the people who are here listening to this.
Hi everyone, I'm Cindy Lilen. I'm originally from Patagonia, Argentina, and I spend my time between my hometown and London. What I create is lighting and fiber sculptures in small and large scale, and I research traditional textile techniques from all over the world, and I try to bring them together to create a more contemporary approach to my pieces.
Wow, so nice. So I can't wait to begin this conversation with Cindy today. So let's start and walk around the creative atelier. So Cindy, can I ask you that what do you think about this contrast between materials, because you work with textiles, which is something very soft, and then here we are in this place around the ateliers of Fornace Curti, where people work a lot with ceramics, earth, raw materials. So what do you think of this contrast?
I don't like to take these two words as contrast, but as complements. I think you need one to highlight the other one, right? Like
Right.
soft and hard, they are always in a dialogue. I think the soft, it's soft because of the comparison that you can make with the hard. So I work with both in my work because I feel like they need to complement in terms of find a balance. So I like to work like with the soft, making like hard shapes, or like with the hard looking soft. So I think this interaction, it's very natural for the human body in general, right? Because we tend to connect with materials in different ways. So I think the terracotta, although it's hard, and you can touch it and feel like connected to the earth. Whether the fibers, you can feel it soft and warm, but it's a different feeling. It's more like connected to other sorts of memories, but also to nature, right? So
Right. I think at the end everything comes back to nature.
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
and I also really like this point that you mentioned, making a hard material look soft and making a soft material look hard.
Yeah.
I think that's very clever. So here we are at the studio of Cindy, at the studio of Yaya, who is a ceramic artist, where we are showcasing Cindy's work. And this is also an amazing combination. I think it's what we spoke about earlier, because Yaya is a ceramic artist and then Cindy works a lot with textiles. So today she has demonstrating her new collection here. So could you tell people about it and what it means to you to
Well,
be
there are
here?
two things that I think are very nice. I didn't know Yaya before, but we both work with lights. I work with lighting, and she works with the concept of lights in her ceramics. So we kind of like bond very well straight away, because it's like the same concept but from different perspectives. And what I'm showing today, it's a work in progress that is called latencia, and it's about the balance between the materials and like the the power that a material holds without being in the final version of itself, let's say. So what you will see is like different small scale lighting that is made with wool from Patagonia, merino wool from sheep, and vicuña wool. I don't know if you ever heard before, but the vicuña is like an alpaca, but it's wild, so you need to go up to the mountains, and it's a very tricky way of obtaining the wool. And it's also some mixed with stones, that's quartz that you will see. So it's all about how you see like the soft becoming like a hard form, or the hard form holding the soft shapes. So yeah, you can go and see.
So I think, Cindy, next I would like to ask you that you talked a lot about the origin of the material. So you talked about the wool coming from Argentina, from such high mountains where it's very difficult to reach. So what do you think about this origin of the material? If I know the origin where the material is coming from, how does it change my perspective of the product? How does it make me feel uh, knowing it and not knowing it?
Yeah, I think the origin of the material is very important. Otherwise, we don't have a story behind the piece, right? So for me, it's a very close connection because it's where I'm from. So basically, connecting with the origins of the material is not just connecting with the material itself, it's also with the territory and the stories behind it. So for me, it makes a big difference if I'm touching like a wool from Argentina or like a cotton from India, or like, because it's like every fiber has like a story and some landscape information. I know it might sound a bit like poetic, but it's true that the natural materials make a deeper connection with the human body in general. So I really like to work with that in all my practice.
I think even me, the human connection is something that we all really need right now in such a digital world. So I think that's very true, and that's what we are doing here. So here you can see this whole community of people who are here to enjoy just the mornings, because our idea is to slow down, to enjoy Salone slowly, the Milan Design Week, not in a rush, but enjoy, see the installations, hear the story, and that's why we are doing this now. So here we are at our next stop, which is the garden installation. Here we talk about sustainability and nature. So I think here I would really like to ask you, Cindy, that we all talk about sustainability and materials being sustainable, but nowadays, um, if, if even the threads I source, they are sustainable. But if they are coming from a very long distance, they are really not, nature friendly, because there is so much transportation which went into taking that hair and bringing it to this place. So, what is your opinion about locally sourced materials? Do you use that a lot in your work, or you source materials from different parts of the world?
I'm basically sourcing most of my materials from my region, and also because I work with some artisans there, so I try to get not just the fiber, but like the fiber that is coming in the shortest way possible. So if I can reach like the artisan that has the sheep, for me that's the best way of doing it. I try to avoid like any middle shop or whatever, because I also feel like if you source materials locally, you're also helping different communities. Whether if you go to the shop, you avoid all that connection as well. So I think again, like the materials hold a story, and if it's like natural, and if it's from a place that you are linked to, and if you get it from the right source, it's a more powerful material, right?
So do you use maybe a lot of also recycled materials, or because you work with textiles and all, have you ever explored that area?
I never throw away any
Really?
thread, because
Wow.
then I re-signify them, or like, because I do a lot of felting, and felting comes from like very thin fibers, right? So even if I cut like wool and stuff, then I'll use it again. So I try to recycle all my materials as much as I can. I'm not using recycled materials, like getting the recycled material, but I do recycle mine and reuse them. So that's the beauty of wool and natural fibers, that you can always use them again.
And this technique, does it come from your place of origin?
Oh no, it's like the most ancient way of creating a piece of cloth. So it's been like in many places in the world. So I just research ancestral textile techniques, and I just take bits and pieces from different places, and I re-signify them in a modern approach.
And just one more question: that how did you reach to this point of being into this sector of material?
I think for me, textiles in general, they hold memories. You know, we are a very tactile body, right? So we get engaged through senses. So if you smell something that you like, if you touch something that makes you feel happy, you know, like most of us have that memory when you hold like your grandma's cover, or like your boyfriend's sweater or something, that you get engaged with the memories. And I think for me, because I grew up with grandmothers that they knit and they did a lot of craft, for me, textiles in general, they have like a deep connection with my memories and with the place I'm from. So for me, I like to create spaces where you get some sensible approach, you know, in your life, where you can slow down, touch the materials, and get like a different memory than rather just having a light in your room, right? So that's why for me, like the mix between textiles and lighting came together, because I like spaces where you feel like grounded, and you can have your moment and relax and feel calm. So
It's like memories combined with the sense of yes, like. I would just like to thank Cindy for this peripatetic conversation today. It was a pleasure to talk with you, and I hope I would just like to know how your experience has been coming to Milan this year for Milan Design Week.
Yes.
Did you ever expect coming here in the beginning?
I've been exhibiting here for 3 years, so this is my fourth year.
Ah,
And although it wasn't really part of the plan, I'm very happy to be back and
Yay.
showing this. It's research that I keep doing with the different fibers. So I'm very glad to be in such a artistic and craft place, because I think my pieces have a good dialogue with the
Wow.
space for sure.
What's your next vision like? What are you thinking for the future?
I'm working on developing a new body of work with stones and fibers
So
for the
again,
end
this
of the year.
contrast that we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I can't wait to hear more about it when you develop
Yeah,
it.
maybe next year.
Yes. Thank you so much for today, and thank you to our wonderful audience for walking with us. I hope you had a good time and you could explore the ateliers here. So until the next walk, and this talk was organized by Nari. So, and I'm Anshika Mangla. This is Lilen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.